Hey everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's a beautiful day, July 19th, 2026. I thought I would just do a quick little walk around tour of the yard here in Greene County, show how everything's progressing. Before I start, it's been very hot. Yesterday it was close to 100, if not above, but we have had some very beneficial rain in the last few weeks, and hopefully we'll continue to get some more. Late summer can be sort of dry here, and occasionally we'll have a wet summer, and often we will get a tropical system towards the end of summer or early fall. But July this year has been so far kind of wet, so that's been nice. So I thought I would start right here, pardon the noise. And just as a preface, when I started this property, this is my rental property here in Greene County, there was nothing here. So everything you're going to see here today, I planted. Much of it I grew from seed or from cuttings or maybe a small plant, but everything here was planted after, I want to say after 2017, early 2017, and I'll show you the first things I did plant. So this is what you can do in about a decade, and hopefully we'll see it progress. Two you see in front of you are European fan palms, or Camerops humilis. I got the seeds of these from Italy, and the guy who sent them to me had identified, they have numerous cultivars of Camerops in Italy. So I think these came from the Naples Botanical Garden or the Rome Botanical, maybe the Naples, I want to say. But as you can see, the one on the left looks different from the one on the right. Both of these were grown from seed. I have long since lost the tag, so I can't tell you which cultivars they are. Sorry about that. And on the right is a volunteer Sable Riverside that came from Augusta. Originally, I had planted some Heliconia Sheediana, and this palm it was in the middle of it. And I noticed it coming up as a seedling, and I thought, well, I'll just let it see what it does. And when it started getting a little bigger, I realized I had something other than Sable Palmetto. So I kept it, and have since moved the Heliconias to give it some space, and so that's what we've done. Going to the left is windmill palm, Trachycarpus fortunii, and this is one from an Atlanta strain called Atlanta stiff leaf or whatever. I like the Trachycarpus forms that have the stiffer leaves, so it's just a personal preference. And behind it is a hybrid. The seed parent is Trachycarpus nanus, but as you can see, it's definitely not Trachycarpus nanus. This palm is about 15 years old from seed. I did collect the seed myself from Joe Levert's mature female Trachycarpus nanus, and so clearly we've got a hybrid, although the hybridization varies a good bit. This one will set seed. It tends to be kind of hermaphroditic. It doesn't look like it set any seed this year. It looks like it had all male flowers. They just do, that's what they do. And while we're talking about it, I'll head over and show you the other one. And it's from the same seed source and the same seed batch. So it is a sister palm to the other one we just saw. Totally different. And so this is Trachycarpus nanus hybrid, probably with fortunii. And it's always hard to tell in a video, but this one has a really, really thick trunk. And female, loaded with seed. So who's the father of this one? Possibly this Trachycarpus wagnerianus. But as you can see, it has seed. So who knows? I don't know what. Maybe the other hybrid is the pollen donor. We really don't know. This Sable Palmetto, I planted this one in 2021 or 22, and it was a volunteer that came up in a pot. It had a grapefruit in it, and it was under some palms I had where we used to live on the coast. So for sentimental reasons, I kept it and planted it here. And it's now starting to form a trunk. It's only been a few years, but as you can see, it's not the diameter it's ultimately going to be, but you can see it's starting to go a little bit vertical. It has to get a little bit bigger, I think, before it really forms a true trunk. This crepe myrtle, this is called Biloxi, and I propagated this one from an old tree in St. Mary's, Georgia. I got it because I do like the flowers. So it has the nice pink flowers. It's a little later blooming than a lot of crepe myrtles, which tend to peak here around the 4th of July. But what I really like about it is this exfoliating bark, which is sort of like Natchez, but with the pink flowers, which I like. So we'll head around. This was actually the first thing I planted in the yard. This is live oak. And I planted this in, I think, January of 2017, something like that. So it's about 10 years old. And it was I want to say it was maybe a 7-gallon tree when I planted it. So got a nice caliper on it, probably, 8 inches or so now. So we'll head around and just kind of look at everything again. Everything you see has been planted. These are Mexican sunflowers, or Tithonia. These are actually volunteers. They will reseed in the garden. So I didn't plant these. I planted it last year and they just came up on their own. Trachycarpus fortunii, just another windmill palm. And behind it is Trachycarpus wagnerianus by Princeps. So one of the hybrids, I think the seed originally came out of Europe. I got this plant from Andrew Shrum, so thank you, Andrew. I really love that palm, and we'll go around and take a closer look at it maybe in a little bit. This is Grevillea rosemarinifolia, so it's an Australian plant. It blooms in the winter. It looks a lot like rosemary. It's about 6 feet tall, and Grevillea are not noted for being too cold hardy, or at least most of them aren't. So when I got it, I bought it from Woodlanders. I thought, oh, it'll make a nice little, mounding 2-foot plant. Well, it's become this behemoth that I now is kind of competing with my Prague Satsuma for space. So I may have to take it back a little bit, but I'm reluctant to do it because it's just such a great looking plant. This is Oleander. This is one I call Cor de Rosa, which is Portuguese for light pink. And it didn't really have a name. It came out of North Carolina, and it was a seedling, I believe, and very, very hardy. This is probably the most free-flowering oleander I own. It starts blooming in May and doesn't quit until frost. And of course, it waxes and wanes, but it just does a great job. And in addition to being free-flowering, which a lot of oleanders are, but typically those aren't the most cold-hardy ones, this one is completely cold hardy. I just never have any problems with it. And as you can see, it's probably 8 or 9 feet tall. And I do cut it back once we get a little further in the season. It's kind of finished blooming. I'll cut it back a little bit. So I'm not sure how tall it would be if I just let it go. This is an F1 Butea Yate by Jubea. I bought this as a little 4-inch pot from Patrick Schaefer out in California and planted it in 24, so 2 years ago. And so now it's starting to get some size on it. I'm really happy with this one. Can't wait to see it get bigger. And you can see, when you see it side by side, I planted the Butea odorata behind it so you could really compare the two to see the differences. And when you see them side by side, it's very obvious what's going on, that there is a hybrid. So next to that is the sable green urasana. This is a seedling from Joe Levert from his mature plant in Augusta. Starting to get some size to it. I planted this one in 22. It went through 11 degrees in that first winter and almost defoliated. It seems to do real well here. This is Thomasville citranquat, one of my favorite little hardy citrus, completely cold hardy here, no problem. Next to it is the sable, what we're calling it sable dominensis from Valdosta, and I don't really know what it is. It may be sable dominensis. That's what we're going to call it because that's what it was described as to me. However, it has some interesting features that I'll show you right now. you notice the emerging leaf, and the petiole has that little brown tomentum or scurf or whatever you want to call it, which the only other sable that has anything like that to that degree is Sable maritima, which is not cold hardy. And so I don't know. I don't want to speculate on it. So anyway, we'll swing around. Arbutus unedo, which is the strawberry tree, and the specific name unedo means just one. The fruit are edible, and I think the name comes from the fact that you'll probably just want to eat one. We had kind of a cold winter. It did bloom, and as you can see, it did set a couple little fruit, so maybe just one. So if it just sets one, I'll try one. Some cacti. This is Opuntia, Engelheimeri, some agave lophantha, Sable etonia, which is the slowest palm in the world, agave ovatifolia, and then Serenoa repens, which I grew from a 1-gallon plant, planted in 21, I believe it was. And they're pretty slow here. At least the green form is definitely slower, and but so far plenty hardy. We'll come around so you can kind of get a view of everything as we go. Just kind of enjoy the view, right? And as we come around, I'll show that Trachycarpus wagnerianus by Princeps. There it is. It's a really great palm. And as you can see, the leaves have that silvery backing like Princeps, but it's much less fussy than the species. This is one of the older Camerops here. I think I planted this in 2018. It's about, looks like about 8 feet, 9 feet tall now, multiple trunks. This was grown from a volcano seed, and of course, as you can see, it's not, but a beautiful palm nonetheless. We'll just kind of walk around here, and so that's the older plantings. We'll come around to some newer ones and some things I've had for a while too. Camellia sinensis, or T. I've got an olive squeezed in here. It's being squeezed out by the T, and I saw a fruiting one at Plant Delights in Raleigh just the other day, so maybe mine will set some fruit one day. Blueberries, and I do field grow windmill palms. My son and I do, and I've got about 80 out here. They're getting close. I think by next spring we'll be able to dig some of them. Absolutely, I think so. Once they get to about 6-7 feet, that's kind of a perfect size for digging and transplanting. So we should have some of those available in the spring. And again, some more Mexican sunflower, some plumeria, and I've got some sables here I just planted last winter. And this is a Sable X-Texensis I grew from seed from Aquinas High School in Augusta. Don't know what that is. We call it X-Texensis because that was a label it came with, but and of course that was the old name for the Brazoria palm, or the X. brazoriensis. It's not that, clearly not, but nobody really knows what it is. So for the time being, I'm just calling it X-Texensis for lack of better terms. A young Defuniac sable, probably familiar with that, coming along. This is Sable Louisiana. I just planted this one this year from the Dallas-Fort Worth strain from Tony Cerbone. So thank you, Tony, and thank you, Sable King. This is an unusual sable that I found, or actually was pointed out to me by my friend down in Statesboro at Georgia Southern University. It's really unique. It's probably palmetto, but definitely a different kind of form. Next to it is Sable Mexicana from Dallas-Fort Worth again. And next to it is my struggling Sable Urasana. This one was completely defoliated last winter. They are kind of tricky to grow, and I'm hoping I can get this one to hang on. I'll probably give it some TLC this winter just to see, kind of get it through. They seem to take some time to get, kind of dug in, and once they do, they do great, but they're just kind of hard to grow. At least a lot of people have that experience, and mine has been no different. And then finally over here, well, not finally, but over here is Sabal causiarum, and I got this from Doug Akers in Alabama. And this supposedly is a true Sabal causiarum, and it definitely behaved that way because it got completely defoliated last winter at 16 degrees. But I thought it was dead, I really did, and it bounced right back. And so we'll see, maybe it'll pick up as time goes by. And we'll move on here. This is a maple from Mexico, Acer scuccii, or the Mexican sugar maple. And it's really interesting maple. It is a disjunct form of sugar maple, or one of the Florida maples like leucoderm, or the chalk maple, and barbatum, which some people classify as species, some classify as subspecies of the sugar maple. This one apparently is closely related. It grows very rare, but it grows in Mexico and down into Guatemala, of all places, and completely cold hardy. This one I planted last fall, obviously didn't have any problems, and I'm looking forward to seeing